which D5 chassis you ended up with, a good tune is universal. Our Scale Science D5 has remained unchanged except for replacing of the stock springs with these Reve-D units. Otherwise, totally impressed with all the adjustments and the available setup options. Prior to the V2 coming out, 3 Racing released an update to their front-end geometries via some shims and some other tuning adjustments, including flipping the rocker adjustment assemblies side to side, which brings the mounting point to the front, which will now create a better leverage point for the tie rod turnbuckle connection link from the lower arm to the rocker arm. Next, a 3mm shim was used to space the ball stud off of the arm to bring that mounting point more into a straight line with the rocker assembly. Also be aware that your ball studs can limit your suspension's travel if they run into the edges of your ball cups, so pay attention when you are checking the travel of your suspension. At this point, the only hard part that we have swapped into this chassis is these Reve-D springs. They are a progressive multi-rate spring, and we are using the yellow on front and black on back. Now let's step out to the lower arm. Different than stock, I have opted to add a 3mm shim to widen my track width slightly. I've also added 6mm of shims to the steering turnbuckle linkage, and the inner and outer balls are mounted in position too. While I love how this car drives with the wider track width, I want to make note that this is not a mandatory modification, and it could require you to run a very wide body, over fenders, or be forced to run narrower wheels, or any combination of those 3. Now in our car, we're running the 6mm offset Racing Performer wheels, the high traction model with the black band, with the stock 3 Racing front tires. Now lastly, I want to talk about a new adjustment that I have just started experimenting with. Firstly, give a shout out to my buddy Sean, Team Bubble Milk down in Arizona, giving me this idea about raising up the roll center on the rear end to build some more grip, build some more traction. After 1 weekend of using it, I can already say the car had a ton more grip, especially out of corner, which is exactly where I wanted it. I made this mod using some threaded 15mm aluminum standoffs and some all-thread M3 hardware from the local hobby shop. Said and done, total mod cost was around $4. Now I did notice here that while making these modifications, I didn't get my camber set just right, so I need to put my car back on an alignment rack and get my camber dialed in side to side. My right side tire was wearing at about 70-ish percent, 75% of the tire's surface, whereas the other side was only wearing about 50%. As you can see here. That will be a quick fix with a turnbuckle wrench, and we'll add a couple degrees of positive camber to even out that wear pattern. For the price tag of the D5, you can't go wrong. Highly suggest you pick one up. You're gonna enjoy it. It drives great. If it doesn't drive great, you can throw it in the trash, and really, what did you waste? $100. You could throw $100 away in one night, no problem, easy peasy. But in this case, I don't think you will. I think you're gonna be pleasantly surprised at how much your $100 actually got you, as far as the feeling of a good investment, of a good value, of a car that you should invest your money in and buy one. Really, I don't think you can go wrong. And as we've joked with online lately about this car, if you hate it, you could turn it into a display chassis for only a few dollars more than a display chassis or a couple would cost you. So I don't think you're gonna be disappointed. Try one out. Tell me I'm wrong. I can assure you, this car is definitely not all glam, no go. Take a look for yourself. This is us cruising around at Tandem RC in Mesa, Arizona. They have a really nice, consistent, slick, polished surface, and the D5 did great. Keep in mind, this was before we even did the front suspension mod, so it's only improved since then. On our setup sheet here, I've outlined all of my documented changes in red. If it is stock, I either indicated so or left that field blank. I did have to estimate on a couple fields, including my toe angles, as I didn't have a number offhand to fill those in for you. I'll get them as soon as I can. As far as everything else is concerned, it's pretty straightforward and stock. As I mentioned, the only change being those springs from Reve-D. That kit is $30. We sell them, and if you'd like to get some for your D5, just shoot us a message on scalesciencerc.com. One other note, we are using a Yokomo DRC rear tire, and notice that our offsets are staggered. However, the measurements indicate on the board that all is well. To be discussed in a future video. Stay tuned.